Hey everybody. So my topic today is jail. And I want to discuss the possibility of having inmates in jail. Before I do this, let me say something about jail and arrests in general. A person can be going about their normal everyday business and find themselves in a situation where the police or the sheriff have gotten interested in them and pulled them aside, detained them, arrested them. Sometimes an accusation can come from somebody else remotely and a warrant be put out for your arrest, and the law officers will come and pick you up from your home and tell you, we have a warrant for your arrest, these are the charges. Well, not in every case is a person arrested. Not in every case where a person is arrested would they be found guilty in a jury trial. And it's supposed to be that the law officer takes you before the magistrate, before the judge, and you're arraigned. And it's kind of like an arrangement, I'm not sure, but you're set a time for when you're to have trial or any special hearings leading up to trial. At the arraignment, that's set, and the arraignment comes very shortly after the arrest normally. And a person these days is actually taken to jail for overnight, maybe, before they're taken to see the judge in the morning. And it would probably be better just to go straight to the judge. Because we're dealing with a private citizen and his right to be treated fairly. Okay, so we'll walk. And we'll come over here. Here's a chair. Okay. Nice little place to sit. Well, so you get arrested. The law officer thinks, let's say the peace officer, thinks you've done something wrong. There's a difference between whether you're arrested on a warrant or arrested on probable cause without a warrant. And there's a legal idea based on the constitutional statement that private citizens shall be protected against unreasonable searches and seizures. And a search is, of course, just a search. But a seizure can be the taking of property or the taking of a person, seizing of a person, to hold them into custody. Maybe. That's the way everybody thinks, is that an arrest is a seizure of the body. That may be an assumption itself right there. But let's go with it. And you'll have to excuse me for being slow, because I just am slow right now. And here's the question: do I want to, in this discussion, in this recording, develop ideas and develop a voice? We all want to be powerful speakers, but we need not be powerful speakers at the cost of truth or manners. I want to be free. Not subject to restraint. I want to see my people and my property and be in that comfortable place I call home. Going to jail can be a unpleasant experience. There is the nice part in that you get to meet a lot of people and make some good connections. Also, there's the nice part that you don't have to work or do any manage tasks like what you have at home. Now, that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's bad because the reason you have tasks at home that you have to do is because you're growing, you're managing, you're keeping up with your business. And you're doing that because you need to do that. And there's a cost to not doing it. People will be under hardship if you're not there at home or at work doing the things that you have been trained to do. Trained or that you do. Now, that's a bad thing for society. That's undesirable. But personally, if you're in a situation where you're forced to be inactive, well, that's an opportunity to meet with others, think, study the Bible, and change your lifestyle to a simpler lifestyle. The jail food is terrible. Now, it may be better than what many people eat out there in the world, because we do have beans often, and oatmeal, and vegetables, and everybody usually eats everything on their plate because they're hungry in jail. Now, There's a lot of refined flour, white bread, and white pasta, which is not good. But it tastes good. And that's the type of food people would choose out in the world, outside of jail. So, um, people can be in jail for a really long time, and it's an error, societal error, to take a person out of his life and put him in jail for a long time, awaiting trial. Should be the defendant's choice of whether he wants to wait a long time to go to trial or have a speedy trial. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's a speedy trial. A year and a half, or just 9 months, or 7 months in jail with bad food, with very little food, with being hungry all the time, with sleeping on uncomfortable mattresses, with people waking you out of bed and moving you from one place to another, rough treating you. Maybe not rough treating you, but making your life one of being a captive and subject to your captors. Now, people don't have their cell phones. They have them taken away from them when they go to jail to await trial. But there's a statute that says people being arrested shall be subject to no greater restraint than is necessary for their arrest and detention. And of course that means they don't have to be shackled to the wall or have their legs bound and all the time. The idea is that the jail has to set a reasonable idea, or whoever's in charge of the prisoner, of what will prevent prisoners from escaping or being a danger to others. They're to be subject to no greater restraint than is necessary for their arrest and detention. So they're being detained, and that's really why they're at jail, is to make sure they show up at their court appearances and make sure they show up at the trial to be tried. And it's not about hurting people. It's not about making people feel small, taking away their clothes. Keeping them in small rooms, giving them little sink toilets, I guess, sink toilet combination, sink connected to a toilet. There are parts of different jails that do have regular sinks and regular toilets, and that's nice. And it's nice to have your own little room. They are small rooms, but There's another law that says private property shall not be taken away from people without just compensation and without a commission appointed from regular jury panel, from citizens, to determine whether this is an appropriate taking of the property for the benefit of the state. And one might be able to take that law and say that for the jail to hold your cell phone while you're in jail, or even your clothes, is a incursion on rights. And I don't think that having a cell phone would make things dangerous, because things are already dangerous, and sometimes people already have cell phones in jail. But cell phones can protect people because they can record injustices, and there are injustices in jail. I know of one person who was elbowed in the teeth by a guard and lost a tooth. Now, he may have been being disrespectful to the guard, but he was not physically a danger to the guard, and that's just wrong. In the Bible, a servant was to be let go free if the master struck out his tooth. Maybe this person should be let go free, whatever crime he committed, for having lost a tooth, as long as he didn't kill anybody or seriously maim anybody. But as far as just property damage or drug use or possession, he can be let free or something like that. All right. People can use their cell phones to manage business at home, like their bank accounts, pay their bills, maybe be able to keep their house up, or obtain finances to pay their bills and keep their house up, and their vehicles, their bills, so they don't lose something important. Now, they can also use their cell phones to find a lawyer and a bail bonds person and contact all their relatives, because the jail takes their phone away from them. They lose all the contacts. So it's just like modern society has not caught up with modern things, or the jail system has not caught up with modern society. But having cell phones, it can add an element of danger, like people in different pods being able to communicate when to go and smash somebody out. But at the same time, it can also protect people, like sharing the information that this bad person that steals has stolen from people in this pod, and then he caught out and went to another pod in the same jail system, and watch out for him. There's a crime that happens in jail. There are laws, and the jail can increase restraint on people that are violent, if they show themselves violent. But having cell phones will allow inmates to feel normal and continue to be themselves, instead of being forced into a different situation where they have to adapt and not be themselves and be somebody they're not. And I've seen people strip their clothes off when they're first come into jail. Now, maybe they wouldn't do that in their home environment, or maybe they would. And you might have people record that, but that'd be okay. I wouldn't want to be recorded if I was in a very unusual situation like that. But if you're in jail, let's say there are drugs in jail, and you know there are people with cell phones around, and you still do the drugs, and you strip your clothes off, then it's kind of like you're at home around other people and friends, and you do that. So it's not outside of normalcy, and it's fine in that case. You're not at a disadvantage. So I think having cell phones will do more good than harm for people in jail. And there might be a legal argument against it, that you're being subject to more restraint than is necessary to have your clothes, have to wear jail clothes, and then have to give up your cell phone. And also that the jail is enjoying your property, and there has to be a commission appointed to approve that. Based on the Constitution of Oklahoma. I'm dealing with Oklahoma. Okay. Oh. Ah. Well, there may be a way to get out of your jail cell. So let's say you have some soap and some cellulose material, like some paper or some clothing or cloth. You can use soap to make things slide where there's not friction, and you can bunch together a wedge or fold together a wedge from this material and slide it from the top and bottom of the door frame, from the top and bottom of the door, between the door and the door frame, up to the latch or down to the latch, and it will bow out the top and bottom of the door, and you just keep on putting more wedges and sliding them down toward the latch, and take out wedges that are no longer doing a job of pushing on the door, and always build your wedges just a little bit bigger each time. Now, it may take a lot of time, especially if you don't know what you're doing, and if this becomes a popular thing to do, guards may be on the lookout for it, and oftentimes guards come by every 30 minutes or every hour, and if they see somebody's door starting to bow out, then they can address the problem, and you may have your things taken from you, whatever you're using. So that's a significant idea right there. I don't know, so what I just now told you is a significant idea. And I will let you go. This is T-Band. Goodbye.